Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a nonpartisan public candidate interview service program designed to help voters get acquainted with the candidates vying for the 2025 special elections races of Ward 6 for Salem City Council and Salem-Keizer School Board, positions 1, 3, 5, and 7. These interviews come to you through producers at Capital Community Media with collaboration on questions from American University Women and the League of Women Voters, Marion and Polk counties. Interviewers are from League of Women Voters. All candidates for these races were invited, and all but one chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the 8 prepared questions ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening addressing their background and qualifications for the office, and a 2-minute closing. I'm Cindy Schnell from League of Women Voters, and I'd like to introduce you to Karina Guzman Ortiz, who is running for School Board Zone 5. Candidate Guzman Ortiz, welcome, and we look forward to your opening remarks.
Thank you so much for having me. As you introduced me, I'm Karina Guzman Ortiz. I'm running for a second term on the Salem-Keizer School Board in Zone 5. And I want to share, I am a product of our schools. I attended Salem-Keizer schools from kindergarten through graduation. I have 2 children who are now in the district, 4th grade and 10th grade. And for me, it was the amazing teachers, right? I was thinking about the bus drivers and the lunch ladies and the counselors and the principals who knew me by name, who really supported me and encouraged me to graduate and to finish high school. I'm the first in my family to earn a college degree, and I went on to community college, Western Oregon University, and I have a master's of social work from Portland State University as well. My background has been working with children, working with families, working with youth, and in the intersection of healthcare and education. I believe that our schools are important places for our children to learn, but also to build community. And in the 4 years I've been on the board, we've had to do some really difficult things. I was chair in 2023, and I led our district through significant budget cuts. Those were really painful and really difficult and necessary. And also, what I really want to highlight is that during that time, I led our board and our district in establishing clear, achievable, and measurable goals for academic success. Those included 3rd grade reading, attendance, 9th grade on track, graduation, and sense of belonging. And I'm running for another term because I know that work needs to mature still, and I want to come back, continue doing this work, and making sure that we are really establishing those strong foundations for our young children to learn, to achieve great success at reading, and to continue on to their lives and have that successful future that they deserve. I also understand that our educators need the support to do their work well.
Great. And now for some questions.
Perfect.
Okay, first question. What do you think are the biggest challenges faced by teachers and staff of the Salem-Keizer district?
Oh, this is a great question, an important one. You know, as I mentioned about the cuts in our district, that was really hard, and we did a lot of conversations with community, heard from teachers, heard from families, and around what are the needs and what do we want to prioritize in our district. And something that we've heard is around the student needs in the classroom, right? My kids, like I mentioned, were impacted by COVID and the loss of learning and the loss of social interactions with others. And our teachers are facing that. The student needs are significantly different than they were 5 years ago, and every class that comes through is different. I was at a conversation with higher education folks about a week ago, and I heard from their admissions office, every year we're looking at where were these students in high school, right? So that we know what they might have missed as they're coming into college. And that is exactly what we are doing in K-12 still, assessing where were these children during that pandemic and adjusting every year. So I think that is one thing that we still need to learn to adapt and respond to because of those same student needs. We have social, emotional, and behavioral needs that our students need support with. And teacher and staff, educator safety in our buildings has been an important topic in a conversation, one that the district is leaning into, right? Wanting to make sure that everyone who is working with children has the tools, has the resources, and the protections to do their job well, even when students have very high needs. So those two come to mind right away in terms of what educators are needing, and also working with teachers, right, working with district staff to find the solutions. I think that work is for us to do collaboratively, to do in partnership, so that we can get it right. And if we're not getting it right away, that we can continue to adapt and continue to be responsive to both student needs, but also, of course, educator needs.
Okay, great. And what is your understanding of the role and duties of a school board member?
Yes. I'm the only candidate that is running for this race that has 4 years of experience on the board so far. And I've learned a lot in this time. As I came on, I understood that there was 3 main things. One of them is working on policy, right? That board level policy, just like the example I gave about establishing those results goals. That is policy level work. There's the budget work. We have right now a $1.1 billion budget that we are responsible as a board, in collaboration with the budget committee, which is 7 community members. That is a significant part of the work as well, right? Balancing that budget, making sure that that budget meets the needs of students and educators, and that budget aligns with the goals that we've established as a board. And then third is oversight of the superintendent. So as a board, we have 1 employee, and that employee is the superintendent. So it is our duty to hire, right, and to oversee the work of the superintendent. We, in 2022 was this, right? We hired Superintendent Andrea Castañeda. That was the role of the board. And on a yearly basis, we evaluate the superintendent. Most recently, our evaluation included an alignment with the work that the superintendent has done and the progress on those board goals that I had mentioned earlier. So those 3 things: policy work, budget work, and superintendent oversight.
Okay, I think you've got that down. What are your suggestions for involving the community in curriculum development? Describe the roles and levels of influence for parents, teachers, and the district in the development process.
Thank you. We've done a lot of curriculum adoption over the last 4 years, from middle school history curriculum, right? Elementary health-related health and safety curriculum, and many others. And the process for that, what I've been a part of as board members, we've had opportunities to participate in those different committees and evaluation committees. And a lot of it is really educator-led, which is really important, right? Because at the end of the day, the educators will have that curriculum in their hands, and it will be them who is using it and who is delivering it to students, right? It's their tool. And so it's really important that we involve educators, and that is definitely part of the process. Once the educators go through those conversations and selections, there is usually an opportunity for what we call some piloting, right? And so they might do some subgroups, and they're trying out different curriculums and looking through it, trying to understand it. Does this reflect the needs of our students? If the elementary health curriculum, for example, it was necessary that was bilingual, that was available in both English and Spanish, that it had tools and resources, recognizing that we have a significant number of families in our district who are English and Spanish speakers, and as we're growing our dual language program. And then there's opportunities, as the educators make their recommendation, for the public to come and see what the curriculum is and learn about it, and provide comments as well, right? Whether it's concerns, whether it's questions around the curriculum. But those have been also very successful, where families and other educators are able to literally walk into some of these buildings and have the curriculum displayed for them to review and see before it becomes recommended to the budget. So to the question, right, I think we all have a role to play in curriculum as it is adopted by, ultimately the board makes the decision, right, to adopt the curriculum, but we don't do that lightly, and we don't take that as a board. It's not a quick sign off. There is a process that goes into it, and always thinking around what are the educator needs and what are the student learning needs. And of course, that there is alignment with the Oregon state standards that we have for academic standards.
Okay, and how will you build community trust, facilitate communication, and manage conflict between parents, teachers, and the school board, especially during sensitive discussions on school board topics?
Thank you. The last 4 years we've had many important and sensitive topics, and we've approached them a couple different ways. From community conversations, as I mentioned, before the significant budgetary and financial decisions in 2023, we went out to the 7 high school feeder areas and held community conversations. Families from every across the district were invited, right? And that gave us the opportunity to listen around needs and priorities and to help us gauge whether we were on the right track for the goals that we were setting for our system, and to help us prioritize later down the line, what did we want? What was essential for us to protect as a district, right? Regarding the work, the programs, despite the budget cuts that were coming. And so those conversations were really important, necessary, and informative to how our district and schools are currently operating. Public comment is another very important piece, right? We have board meetings, 1 to 2 times a month, and the public is invited to come into those meetings, to submit public comment as well via email, or to come in and share that with us in person. That is really important, and I'd really hope that more people would participate in that process. It informs the work that we do as a board. And lastly, for me, it's really important to have those one-on-one conversations, to have the opportunity to sit down with families, with educators, with community members around their concerns regarding our schools, the opportunities that they might see, right? Even the success stories. We have so many beautiful success stories from the district, and being able to hear from folks who have been a part of it or who have witnessed that, those success stories inform us about the good work that is happening and that we need to expand on. So all of it matters, and I always invite folks to have a conversation with me, to reach out. I was actually talking to a colleague, right, but they live in community, and so I text and I said, remember, we wear multiple hats, so please do reach out if there is ever any other concerns or questions you might have of our district, because that is the work that I'm here to do. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to take that with me into the work that I do as a board member, and hopefully for the next 4 years.
In thinking about the school district's decision regarding funding, budget matters, over the past year, which ones did you support and which ones did you not support?
Oh, yes. There was a lot of those conversations, the conversations were important, right? And some of the things that surfaced around what we needed to protect, of course, the classroom, right? The classroom. We want to make sure that our children are learning. That is why we're sending them off to school, right? That is why, as a parent, I send my kids off to school. I want to make sure that they're learning. Other programs that we have heard and that I believe our community is really proud of are our music programs, our sports programs, our career and technical education programs are important as well. Those are essential to our community, and we know that when our students participate in those programs, they have better attendance, right? They have better graduation rates. We have about 99% of students who participate in CTE graduate, and their attendance is also significantly better. So we heard loud and clear and understood that it was important to protect these programs as we did these budget cuts. An area that we also found was necessary, recognizing the needs of our students, were our mental health and behavioral health supports, for example. We have high-need students, and they need additional support, right? They need additional hands and resources. Some of that we can do internally in the district. Some of that we have to make those community connections. But protecting our social workers was another one that was important for us, and one that was important for me. It ties also directly with our goals of sense of belonging, making sure that children and students feel safe in our schools and that they feel that they belong. And some students need more support than others. The one that is difficult is we in our budget reduced a number of educators, and that is hard. That was really difficult. And when your organizational budget is over 90% people, there is very little room to cut elsewhere than where those dollars are being spent, which is people. And that was difficult. We did the best that we could to lessen that impact again in the classroom. But that impact is felt, and we've heard it from buildings this year. And so as we're working on our budget now for 25-26, trying to see where can we adjust. Are there some places that we can bring some of that time back, if wherever that might be? But it was a difficult process, and I do think that we did the best that we could with the information that we had.
Okay. We're running a little low on time, so I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. But how can we improve learning and reading achievement, especially in underserved areas? You have less than a minute.
Thank you. Continuing to focus on these goals. We have these goals, and we need to make sure that we are focused, that we are prepared as educators, right? That we are preparing and working together to build our skill set, and that we are bringing families along in this work. And, to tie it all back together, at the end of it is making sure that our budget aligns with the goals that we have so that we can do this work and see that success in our students.
Okay. And now it's time for your 2-minute closing comments.
Thank you. Time really flies. I care deeply about our community, and as folks have asked me, why are you doing this again? I say it's because I care. It is a time commitment. It is a volunteer role, and I am a member of our community. I care about the outcomes of our students and the way that we're supporting families and supporting their students as well. And despite the budget challenges that we have faced, we are doing amazing things. Our educators are doing astonishing work in our schools, and it is something that is worth celebrating. I am committed to coming back and making progress on early literacy is one that is really important to me as our students are coming in. I work in the realm of early learning, and so I know that our students are coming in with limited learning opportunities prior to kindergarten, and that sets them up to have a larger catching up to do. And it is work that we need to do when our students are coming in, and once they learn to read, then they can read to learn, and then they can make progress and be on track to graduate. So I'm looking forward to doing this work alongside my colleagues on the board, hopefully for another 4 years, and alongside community and alongside educators and our students.
That's great. I want to thank you, candidate Guzman Ortiz, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
And thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties for the design and preparation of the program, and to AAUW for help with question development. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, visit vote411.org. You have until April 29th to register to vote or make changes. Ballots go out May 1st and will be accepted if postmarked before or on May 20th. In odd-numbered years, our May elections are for selecting representatives for local districts, such as school boards, fire and water districts, transportation, and cemetery districts. There are 915 special districts in Oregon. These districts are part of our daily lives and are filled by unpaid volunteers. Elections matter. Special district elections matter. So remember to vote, because your vote counts.